Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the 4 card fights for UFC Fight Night Brunson versus Till. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Jonathan Martinez versus Marcelo Rojo. And how I see this one right here is I think Marcelo Rojo is definitely bringing a lot of, he's bringing a lot of heat. He's got a lot of upside to him, but ultimately I'm going to lean to Martinez in this one. I feel like Rojo's going, he's coming down from 145. He just put up a good performance against Charles Jourdain in a losing effort. He got stopped. But on some cards, or maybe even a lot of cards, he was winning, or it was 1-1 or something going to that last round. And, Jourdain definitely had to win that third round, if not stop him. So it was a very tight fight with Jourdain. But going down to 135, I think he'll be the bigger man. Could probably bring that same intensity. And like I said, bring that strength advantage, size advantage, power advantage. And that aggression will be good. But I see Jonathan Martinez, I feel like he has the tool. I feel like his lateral motion and is better than Jourdain a little bit. I feel like his speed is he's faster than Jourdain, especially at 135, a smaller fighter. And he's not going to allow Rojo to just pressure him back necessarily on a straight line. He's going to cut off. He's going to do a check hook. He's going to be throwing jabs. He step back. So it's not going to be a case where Rojo can necessarily crowd him as easily as he did Jourdain. And I'm not saying MMA Math or Martinez is better than Jourdain or whatnot, but I definitely think that Martinez has tools that would be better suited to dealing with Rojo in certain areas than Jourdain did. But yeah, I feel like I see a decision one. I see it's a close fight. But I think the jab, the step back, the lateral motion will be key for Martinez to beat Rojo. I think he'll load him up with kicks, freeze him up with teeps, and throw high kicks, freeze his arms up, keep him at distance, stick the jab on him, land check hooks, stepping off, and not really rely on Rojo's aggression to fully be consistent pretty much in this one. But ultimately, I feel like Martinez has the tools. I feel like, and he has the speed, and he'll be the more technical fighter out there and be more than capable to play the matador to Rojo's bull in this one. So in this fight, I have Jonathan Martinez via decision. Now to our next fight we have in the middleweight division, Dalcha Lungiambula versus Marc-Andre Barriault, or Barriault. And how I see this one right here is I think Marc-Andre Barriault definitely has the tools to beat Lungiambula, or Lungiambula. But looking at his last fight, I was not all too impressed. He fought a man that hadn't fought in like 2-3 years and was losing, getting outstruck, getting outworked. And eventually the man just couldn't keep with that pace, and then he capitalized and was able to stop him. But going against Dalcha Lungiambula, Lungiambula will be bigger, will be stronger. Maybe not vertically, but definitely horizontally, definitely muscle density and whatnot. He'll be the stronger man. But yeah, in this one, I feel like in the last fight I was not all too impressed with Barriault, and I feel like his last opponent was able to get in on the inside of him too easily, was able to pressure him too easily. And historically, it's not like Barriault's the hardest guy to pressure. He's not. Like, he's an A and B fighter. Like, he's an I go, you go fighter. So if you're constantly putting pressure on him, he's constantly going to be going back for the most part. He's not a guy that's going to have a real good lateral motion or real good check hooks or really any good counters or a real nice counter, like double leg, counter blast double, like counter wrestling. Like, so when you're going. And when he's going, typically. But higher level competition person, they're going to go all day on him. Like, that's what's going to simply be the case. And even this fight, let's against the Iron Turtle. The Iron Turtle was just doing whatever he wanted with him real easy, to be honest. People say, oh, he got up this, got up that. But he was getting worked the whole fight until Iron Turtle started to slow down in the third round. And then when Iron Turtle slowed down, he picked up. So he's a guy that's definitely waiting too much. And I feel like against Lungiambula, I don't feel like Bulla's going to put such a crazy pace. I don't think Lungiambula's going to stop him. But Lungiambula is a very high level, got high level skills in judo, very strong, probably be the much stronger man. Like, I can't think he can match the pace, but I definitely think he can pressure, get on the inside, land some heavy shots, freeze him up, get on the inside, lock up with him, find trips to the ground, and just really get some large control time, or just control him on the ground, and just win these rounds with limited striking, with heavy-handed strikes, or in like power shots, getting inside, tripping him, dragging him to the ground, and grinding out a decision over him. Not the prettiest, but a decision nonetheless. So in this fight, I have Dalcha Lungiambula via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in a catchweight bout at 150, Charles Jourdain versus Julian Erosa. And I see this one right here. So this will be a pretty interesting matchup right here. I feel like Erosa is definitely not the most consistent fighter. But what I would say in this one is ultimately I'm picking Jourdain. But what I will say in this one, I feel like Erosa early on might have success, might even still the first round. But I feel like ultimately once the fight starts to settle down, I think once Jourdain starts to find his range and time, and I think that's what's gonna start to spell the end. And I think it's gonna be the third round. So I feel like early on, Erosa probably will be landing better strikes with his hands, but Jourdain will be setting up his kicks and establishing his range and finding his timing and finding his openings in Erosa's defense. Now I think in the second round he starts to, I think the whole time he's going to dictate the pace, but I feel like Erosa might be outlanding him and landing some of the cleaner shots early on. But ultimately, I feel like Jourdain's going to be controlling the fight ultimately from start to finish. Then in the second round, he starts to really find that time, start to unload and let off bigger shots in the second round. But for like first establishing range with some jabs and some front kicks and some high kicks. And then that third round, he starts to unload over top and eventually finds Erosa clean over the top with a clean shot, drops him and finishes him off in that third round. So in this fight, I have Charles Jourdain via third round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the bantamweight division, Jack Shore versus Ludwig Sholinian. And how I see this one is, I really don't think Ludwig Sholinian brings anything to Jack Shore. I think Jack Shore is a much cleaner, much more polished striker, much cleaner, much more polished, much more technical. Just overall, this higher level, higher caliber fighter. I don't think Sholinian really belongs in there with him, to be honest. I mean, he belongs in it with him, but if he really wants to win or truly be competitive or have a fighter's chance in this one, I don't really think he has it in this one. I mean, maybe that's a little bit too much to discredit him, but this dude, I mean, he's solid enough, but from what I've seen, I don't think he has any area where like, oh, this guy beats him there, or his strike, oh, he got more power, or he faster, or he has a jiu-jitsu advantage, or he's a better wrestler. It's not the case. I only see no real true advantage for Sholinian in this one, or he has such amazing fight IQ or amazing this. He has probably some decent solid wrestling, brings a decent pace. Technique on the feet is definitely leaving a lot to be desired. And I think Jack Shore is just altogether a much better mixed martial artist, much better fight IQ, much cleaner boxing, changes wrestling together much better. Situational awareness much better. His grappling, overall just much better. And I think it's gonna be a case where Jack Shore is going, and also his cardio and his pacing is not the best. So I see him tired in a lot of fights and just turn into a sloppy street fighter at times. A lot of these fights, Ultimate Fighter, prior to Ultimate Fighter. So another thing to look at. So I just feel like the case where Jack Shore is going to work him everywhere, just drag him into the later rounds and just grind him out, start to score those takedowns and smother him, land shots on him. And it's really just a case of just breaking him down with his pace and pressure and work rate. And then in that third round, he's able to put him away. And I think it's third round TKO. So in this fight, I got Jack Shore via third round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's flyweight division, Ji-Yeon Kim versus Molly McCann. And this is our prelim headliner, if I didn't mention it, which I didn't mention it. But Ji-Yeon Kim versus Molly McCann, how I see this one. I see Ji-Yeon Kim is like a slow, powerful lurch. Like she's not like she's a plodding fighter. Slow. She got some decent power. Takedown defense and grappling is definitely questionable. But, still young and can prove it. And ultimately, I'm going to pick Molly McCann in this one. I feel like Molly McCann has fought fighters like Ji-Yeon Kim. I mean, whether she evolves or not, I'm going to pick off based off what I've seen. And, like, there's not no great confident pick or anything because, like, these fighters can always change and evolve. It's not like Molly McCann some stud. She's not. Ji-Yeon Kim not no stud, but maybe she can evolve within one. Maybe she can come in and just be better on the night. But, yeah, like, not a very confident pick. But I'm going to lean to Molly McCann. Like I said, she's fought a woman like her before. These slow lurches with some power. And not the best takedown defense, not the best grappling, not the most polished fighters. And I feel like Molly McCann is a cleaner boxer. She's much faster, much better footwork, much better speed. Not lacking a lot of power, but not lacking at all in experience and has championship level experience. And grappling is pretty underrated, pretty solid. She can score some takedowns, decent control. Unless she's fighting like a woman who has better grappling than her or some better grappling credentials or actual grappler. Molly McCann has looked pretty good against most other people. And to be honest, she even looked good against a lot of these strikers in this division. Maybe not the best, because she hasn't really fought the best strikers. But yeah, she looked pretty good against the not grapplers and the people that aren't in some of the decent strikers, some of the average MMA fighters. And yeah, that's a lot of words that said nothing. But either way, I feel like Molly McCann would be able to use her footwork, use her combinations, use her speed, level change, but score takedowns. And this fight a smart decision fight and be able to grind out a decision over Kim. I don't think it's going to be the prettiest thing, but I definitely think Molly McCann has all the tools to win, and I think she will be able to get another decision victory. So in this fight, I have Molly McCann via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our first fight on the main card, in the lightweight division, Luigi Vendramini versus Paddy Pimblett. And I made a mistake and said this man was Irish. This man is not Irish. This man is from like England. So yeah, that was on a quick pick, but y'all don't need to hear that now. Y'all know I made that mistake, but yeah, it is what it is. Vendramini versus Paddy Pimblett. How I see this one going is, I really think a lot of people are too high on Paddy Pimblett for whatever reason. Like I really didn't start looking at him too. I had to make this prediction for this fight, and from what I've seen, I was not impressed with Paddy Pimblett. I'm impressed with his tenacity. I'm impressed with his willingness to take risks, but overall his skills, I'm not impressed. His striking defense is never is never improving. Like always open for everything. He got amazing chin, got heart, but you can see exactly why he loses. His grappling not all that great, especially for the UFC caliber. It's not all that great. Wrestling not all that great. Striking not all that great. So he's not really great in any area. It's not like he presents anything that's, I can't really see him making any much of a stamp in the UFC. But I guess one thing you could say, his age is great too, because he's only like 26 or something. He's been fighting for a good minute, probably since he was a teen. Because I've been hearing about this man and seeing him on MMA pages for a long, long time, or at least a decent amount of time, probably like 4 or 5 years at least, maybe. But yeah, this man been around. So maybe in us 4 years, maybe we hit his 30s, he could get into his prime and make some significant improvements. But from what I've seen, just not nearly enough to really deserve all the attention he's gotten, especially when he's losing a lot, or not a lot, but enough times. And the people that he did lose, they ain't really do much in the UFC, or have not done much in the UFC yet. But yeah, Luigi Vendramini versus Paddy Pimblett. I said a whole lot of talking just to say nothing in this one. But I feel like Vendramini is the more technical grappler, the more experienced grappler, and the more base, like the more fundamental grappling. I feel like Pimblett is a guy that takes a lot of risks. He's like scrambly and unorthodox with his grappling. And typically when the more fundamental grappler goes against these wild grapplers or these more unorthodox grapplers, typically, they shut them down and almost just school them. Like you could get away with this against guys that like these MMA guys that just, jack of all trades and like they're not really like solid in their in any craft. Like you can find those loopholes and you can play with them, but you ain't gonna play with me because I really legit do this right here. This is really what I grew up on. This is really what my bread and butter. So when you try to play these little cutting corner jiu-jitsu, I'm gonna teach you a lesson. That's typically what happens. Or these cut the corner strikers or cut the corner anything. One time they fight these guys that's like, they legit do this. They school those people. And I can see that definitely is the case. And I could definitely see Vendramini being able to score takedowns, shut Pimblett down on the ground. As far as Pimblett on the feet, I feel like the best thing Pimblett could do really overall is outpace him. That's all he can hope to do. I feel like Vendramini definitely hits harder. I feel like he's the more technical striker. I feel like he's the more fundamental grappler. And I feel like, I don't know. I think I said submission, but whatever the case with this one, I think it's going to be a case where Vendramini's fundamentals going to shut down the unorthodox grappling of Pimblett. Now they're going to feet. He's going to have the heavier shots to be to push Pimblett back, score takedowns, and like I said, just shut it down his unorthodox jiu-jitsu, break him down. I'm going to say he's going to tap him out in that third round. So in this fight, I have Luigi Vendramini via third round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the light heavyweight division, Rountree Jr. versus Modestas Bukauskas, or Bukauskas. Yeah, Modestas Bukauskas. Yeah. How I see this fight is, ultimately, I can't really rely on Rountree to do anything. So he probably will come out and look spectacular in this fight. When you pick him, he looks like a big flop. When you don't pick him, he comes out and look like He-Man. But I'm not picking him. Can't rely on him. Can't trust him. One thing you could say you could trust about Rountree is that his grappling is never ever improving. Always elementary school level. Always caveman level. Never improving, never evolving. I fight IQ, never evolving. He got some power. He can strike at times, but fight decisions not the greatest, grappling not the greatest, overall MMA skills not the greatest. He might as well just go to kickboxing if he can't work on his grappling at all. So that's one issue. And I feel like Bukauskas, he really goes for it. He can score some takedowns, even though Bukauskas' grappling offensively isn't the greatest or defensively isn't the greatest. I feel like it's potential because Rountree's takedown defense is just that terrible. His grappling is just that terrible at times. I mean, sometimes his takedown defense looks pretty decent, but most cases it looks, like I said, elementary. It looks juvenile, it looks trash, but it looks caveman, looks primitive. But really with this one, I feel like Bukauskas, I see like I'm seeing more improvement in Bukauskas than I'm seeing in Rountree. Bukauskas, like he's working on his defense. I'm saying in every single fight, like he's working on it and it's there. So if he stays, be to stay composed, stay fundamentally sound, take Rountree out the first round, use his height and use his reach, mix it up, and not stay there for Rountree to hit. I feel like this is his fight to win by decision, and I think that's what he'll do. I think he'll try to mix in takedowns, at least attempt them, try to clinch him up, freeze him up, take him out of that first round, and then either and or that, I think he just stays defensively sound and be able to take him out of the first round, stay consistent with strikes, and have Rountree just keep loading up and swinging sloppy, unset up strikes. I feel like he could grind out a decision over Rountree. So in this fight, I have Modestas Bukauskas via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the welterweight division, David Zawada versus Alex Morono. So in this fight, how I see it going is, I feel like Zawada brings some pretty good skill set. Like, he got some heavy kicks. He gives everyone a pretty tough outing. This guy has been around and he's like give people some good outings. He got some underrated jiu-jitsu, but I feel like Morono is the better jiu-jitsu practitioner. And I feel like it's really gonna come down to pace. I'm not really too high on either of these guys, to be honest, but Morono has fought better competition, has beaten better competition. He'll definitely bring it. I worry about his defense in all of his fights and his fight IQ in all fights, but it's like Zawada has the craziest hands or the most dangerous fighter. He got some good kicks, but I feel like Morono should be able to crowd a space, take those risks like he always does, and put up volume, outwork him. And I think he beats him to a decision. Really, it's probably going to be a stoppage, but I'm going to lean to a decision. Morono has not won. I mean, I don't think all Morono fights have been stoppages, win or lose, I believe, outside the Pettis fight. But yeah, so I just think it's going to be a case where Morono's just going to take those risks, stay in his face, crowd him, and outwork him, and beat him to a decision. So in this one, I have Alex Morono via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in our co-main event in the heavyweight division, Tom Aspinall versus Sergey Spivak. And how I see this one right here between these two is, I just don't really see Spivak bringing necessarily anything to Aspinall, but I do definitely think he gives some good work. Like, he's not going to go out there and just fold up underneath him. Spivak has some pretty solid striking, some pretty solid boxing, always has. Not the most power, not the best defensively, but he's been working on his takedown offense and his grappling. But Aspinall is a much better grappler, much more experienced grappler, so it's not like that's going to pay him too much dividends. Like I said, it's going to extend him. Like, that's what I'm saying. He has the skills to extend Aspinall, like some rounds, or even to a decision, but I don't think he has the skills necessarily to beat him. I mean, everybody got a chance, but if you had to put money on it, you had to really bet on it. I don't think he has what it takes to really put a bettable chance against Aspinall, or a significant bet, or a confident bet, or anything like that, or a worthy bet against Aspinall. I think Aspinall is a much better, cleaner, polished boxer, packs more power, better footwork, better grappling. So I feel like Spivak will be able to extend him, but eventually Aspinall will start to find him, break him down, and then I think drag him to the ground and tap him out in that third round. So in this fight, I have Tom Aspinall via third round submission. Now to our main event, we have in the middleweight division, Derek Brunson versus Darren Till. And I see this one right here. So yeah, with this one, Derek Brunson definitely been looking good in his recent stint. But when you look at it also to take a knock at it, he's been fighting guys that have, younger guys. And Darren Till's one of the young guys too, but he's been fighting younger guys who don't have the best takedown or wrestling defense. Edmund Shabazian has questionable wrestling defense, and we all know Kevin Holland's wrestling defense is very, very, very questionable. And he's been working on it, but he was not working on it for that fight. So he had lost two fights. He lost to Brunson, he lost to Vettori, and now he's working on it more. But so it's not a case when he fought Brunson, it was definitely a lot of room for improvement, and Brunson took advantage of that. And Brunson probably still could take advantage of it, to be honest. I don't think he's going to improve all that much, but I think both those guys have questionable wrestling defense. And Darren Till's wrestling defense is actually pretty solid. I don't know as far as when Brunson starts being consistent and really pressuring with it, I think he could find success against Darren Till. But at least initially, maybe those first 2 or 3 takedowns, I feel like Darren Till can do very well to shut them down. I worry about Darren Till keeping his hands low. It's a double-edged sword, and I feel like Brunson has the power to surprise, power and the split speed and the length to surprise people and close that gap. He'd be able to touch Darren Till's chin while he would have had his hands down, his mouth open, and whatever not he does. He'd be able to catch him on top and drop him like the same way Willie did, or catch him trying to do a lead uppercut. But ultimately, what I'm feeling this one, I'm feeling Darren Till in this one. I feel like he should be able to stuff the takedowns. He should be the cleaner, more polished fighter. He should be able to find those openings and be able to put Brunson out. I think Brunson's going to, he's going to give him a good challenge. He's definitely going to test him and push him. But I feel like Darren Till, in between the wrestling, in between, taking advantage of maybe some of Brunson's over-aggressiveness. Like, Brunson definitely not as aggressive as he used to be. But he's still technically odd, unorthodox in a way. So a lot of shots still, leave those openings. And I feel like Darren Till has the speed and the power and the skill to capitalize and catch him on with some counters in this fight when Brunson's extending on his shots. It should be able to hurt him. I think ultimately Darren Till's biggest concern with, well, I mean, he got a lot of concern with Brunson. He got concern with Brunson's pace. He got concern with his wrestling. He ain't got concern with his speed and explosiveness and his power. He got some concerns with that. But I do feel like Darren Till should be able to slow the fight down, stuff some of these takedowns, land clean shots, be able to break him down. And I think he's able to get him out probably third round, I say, like early third round. He's able to get Brunson out. Probably hurts him. First round might be buzz him a little bit. Second round hurts him a little bit. The third round, be able to have him hurt, have him, extending on some of these shots in desperation mode, be able to sprawl on some shots, hurt him, then stop him in the third round. So in this fight, I have Darren Till via third round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Brunson versus Till. And as always, thanks for watching. Welcome.